Headline news most affecting Chilliwack this week. The provincial election is over for one riding and another is waiting for mail-in ballots, which might affect that first riding. Remembrance Day ceremonies are not for the public, all due to COVID. A Chilliwack Private School closes for the week due to the coronavirus and a positive COVID test in the BC Hockey League. Our special guests include this week Mayor Ken Popove in another edition of Councillor's Corner, Chilliwack City, and Bradley Jeanette with a Hallwe'en surprise. All right, Chilliwack, let's get started. The old sports cliche is, it ain't over until it's over. For last week's provincial election, that is partly true. John Horgan and the NDP have won a second term with a majority. The Orange Wave swept into the riding of Chilliwack as the NDP MLA-elect, for now, Dan Coulter, defeated incumbent John Martin. It is expected that Coulter will resign as Chilliwack School Board chair in the spring, if not sooner. In Chilliwack, Kent, it's pretty much a dead heat between independent Laurie Thronis and the NDP's Kelly Patton. Indy Jason Lum definitely split the vote. He had 25%. Hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots are now being counted, so this outcome won't be known until November 13th at the earliest. And some of the ballots have had an effect on other ridings too, and there have been reports that some 5,000 mail-in ballots in Chilliwack, Kent alone have to be counted. Remembrance Day ceremonies will be very different this year. Both the downtown and Vetter Legions will not allow the public to personally attend the November 11th gatherings. Both will be live streamed on the respective Legion Facebook pages. So look for the Chilliwack or the Vetter Legion, and those pages will pop up.
Clouds float by my window.
The retired deputy chief from the Cultus Lake Fire Hall, Glenn Charles, was all smiles after the last Cultus Lake board meeting. The park board approved the motion to acquire a boat for Cultus Lake Fire, and according to Charles, the motion passed 3-2 with concerns about liability. The counter-argument was that such concerns would diminish if the fire service had the resource. After a terrible summer of drownings and accidents on the lake, a fundraiser was set up with $8,500 raised, so that new craft goes into service next summer. Mount Cheam Christian School was closed this week due to some staff members testing positive for COVID-19. The private school ran short of staff, so the decision was made to close the school for the entire week while staff go through the process of a deep clean of the campus. Getting scary for a spooky time at the Agassiz Harrison Museum. And you can learn some spooky but true history when you take the little goblins for a Halloween selfie. That's a toonie, and that's in the Haunted Parlor. You can learn about news broadcasts that scared the world and why plaque doctors of the 1300s wore those bird-like masks. And, of course, how the Sasquatch roamed the woods for a millennia. The Haunted Parlor is rife with oddities and exotic items from the near and far, and this is for you to investigate. Masks of many faces will be greeting you with green ghostly lights that will mesmerize you and unique art that will amaze you. All of this at the museum, and more can be found on the museum Facebook page. On Monday, Mark Strahl, the Member of Parliament for Chilliwack Hope, asked the Liberal government about the fines imposed on a Yarrow farm for allegedly shipping products between provincial borders. The farmer in question was Chilliwack poultry farmer Ken Falk from Fraser Valley Special Poultry. Falk says there was a product shipped across provincial boundaries by a third party. His people were unaware of that transaction. With fines from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency as well as his legal costs, Falk says it's turning into more than $200,000, and he wants to be reimbursed by the Federal Minister of Agriculture. Was found not guilty of those charges, by the way. The group called Numeris is a national organization that runs radio ratings across the country for subscribers in the commercial and community radio fields. Normally, we would be into what's called the fall ratings book. But it's not going to happen this year. Normally, mail-in diaries are sent out, but with the pandemic and the onslaught of online shopping going through the mail system, the ratings were canceled. And now stations and advertisers will have to use numbers that were taken back in the spring. Glenn Slingerland, the program director for the Jim Pattison-owned 89.5 The Drive, told chillTV, this is a double-edged sword. While obviously we don't have to put out as much money for all promotions, what really sucks, and I'm quoting him, the momentum for the station has, since the Pattison takeover, has actually slowed down, and those ratings show our audience and our advertisers were actually progressing. So this weekend is Halloween, it's a full moon, which is also a harvest moon, and the time change. You may now roll your eyes. Yes, the clocks roll back 1 hour for that extra hour of sleep, and it'll get dark around 5 o'clock by Sunday afternoon, November the 1st. We go back to daylight saving time on March 14th. After the break, Councillor's Corner with Chilliwack Mayor Ken Popove. And Councillor's Corner, Chilliwack City, with the Mayor, Ken Popove, and we've got a few issues on the go. First off, 5 corners, the development with Alger Brothers, and I'm noticing that drivers are actually starting to get used to the new turning lanes. This has got to make you very, very happy. This is something I remember 10 years ago we thought would never happen. It's happening now. You got to be a proud mayor over this.
You could probably say 15 years, Don. Yeah. And thanks for having me on chillTV as well. In my days on the BIA, we talked about the vision, of the downtown and how it should look, and we had hired a consultant, and he said, yeah, it's probably going to take about 20 years to get this done. So we've shaved a few years off that, and yeah, with the infrastructure upgrades, what the Alger Brothers have done and are going to do, our downtown is going to be transformed. It's exciting to see. Bow and Stern Restaurant opened up a couple of weeks back. The Field House is now open. There's some shops opened as well. There is a buzz downtown, and it's kind of cool because now we have a parking problem. I know, because my wife was down there and she came home and she was choked because she couldn't find a place to park. So I got to make her happier. I'm not going to get dinner tonight, so whatever, it's all good.
COVID protocol. First off, what's turned into this past week a thorny issue with parents and minor hockey, and there's a change.org petition to allow more parents to be inside the rinks for hockey. And then Chilliwack FC, we understand via Andrea Laycock and a few others that some parents have actually been not only vocal but borderline violent when it comes to COVID protocol. There's no other way around this. And I know that this has been a thorn in your side. How are you dealing with this?
Totally unacceptable. Yes, we're in a COVID time. It's different times. It's like what Trudeau said. It sucks, and it does suck. But these sports teams are trying to do their best to follow along with Dr. Henry's protocols. And the mums and dads are abusing the volunteers that come out and help to get these kids on the field. And I talked to the FC chair today, and I specifically told her that this isn't a threat. This is a promise. If parents don't step up their game and follow along with the guidelines, I'm going to shut all fields down. So you guys take it as you want. It's unacceptable.
Also with COVID protocol, City Hall, and again, now that the weather has changed, you still can't wait inside. And I know there's going to be some people that will be upset, but again, City Hall has to follow the rules, I would assume.
Absolutely, and we have to a T. We created some kiosks outside. So folks can come up, during tax time when it was fairly hectic, but it's worked real well. Yes, we can't allow anybody in the hall. If folks know the configuration of that building, it's pretty tight, especially in the downstairs development side. Business has to go on. And it is going on via that route, and of course via Zoom and emails and that sort of thing. But we have certainly followed all the protocols, and to this date we've been free and clear of any virus that's out there. So I'm pretty proud of that accomplishment of our staff, and I give credit to our administration for that.
On a far lighter subject, Chilliwack Community Services with their really great I Care campaign and handing out the hot dogs. This is something that has put a smile on a lot of people's faces. We've both been involved in this. And this will continue on?
Yes, it will. I've been involved in 3 of the hot dog handouts, if you will. I seen you at Veteran Middle yesterday, and I was at actually High Road today and handed out 490 hot dogs to these kids. And kudos to Community Services for pivoting. Their fundraising events, of course, are all put on hold, and a lot of corporate sponsors have stepped up to sponsor this event for the kids, and is going over just great. The kids love it. Obviously, Chilliwack Community Services loves it because they are creating a bit of cash flow for them to carry on their work. So no, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, it was great to see you out there, Don.
I gotta throw this one in. Former Mayor Sharon Gates got a hold of me the other day and said, thank goodness I didn't have to go through that provincial election. I would think you probably were feeling the same way. It was a long day for everybody.
It was a long day. Yeah, some interesting results. I can honestly say I was pulling for Jason Lumb. He's so connected in Victoria, but you know, on a 3-week campaign with limited budget, he did a good job. I think he garnered about 25% of the votes so far. I know the mail-in ballots have not been counted yet, but it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the new MLAs that are going to be in town, that I'll be working with us. I certainly encourage them to be a little more vocal and you know, step it up with me and my committees. But yeah, it was interesting times. We were actually planning on doing a by-election, but now, unfortunately, I think we won't need to do that. But you never know. Still, I'm still pulling. So
there's still a couple of more weeks worth of counting ballots.
Yeah, correct.
Mayor Ken Popove, thanks again for joining us on Councillor's Corner Chilliwack City Edition.
I appreciate you having me on, guys. Thank you.
And you're watching chillTV's News of the Week. Last Saturday, while the provincial election was on, the BC Hockey League dealt with COVID. The league office received a notice last Saturday morning that one of the members of the Surrey Eagles tested positive. The league immediately reached out to the provincial health officer for direction, and then Fraser Health got involved. And that athlete was placed in a 14-day quarantine. Meanwhile, in the interest of caution, exhibition games, including one for the Chilliwack Chiefs, were postponed. Which brings us to speaking with BC Hockey League Commissioner Chris Hebb on the current state of the league and dealing with COVID-19. And a little bit of backstory on Chris. He has been involved in sports broadcasting and in sports for almost 40 years now. First off with CJVI Victoria Radio, and then with the Vancouver Canucks and Orca Bay and the Grizzlies, the Vancouver Grizzlies, and then with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, the Raptors, the Maple Leafs, the Argonauts, and all of that before coming back to the BC Hockey League. Chris, we had the COVID case last week affecting a member of the Surrey Eagles, which indirectly affected a Chilliwack Chiefs game. What's our protocol? Do we have, dare I say it, do we have any other players, or are we kind of in a safe zone now?
Yeah, we're fine now, Don. It was a very isolated instance of a positive COVID case from one of the Surrey Eagles. And when we heard about it, we immediately isolated the kid, and then we informed the provincial health office, through whom we've created our safety plan. And it was a Saturday morning, and they didn't get back to us right away. So we made the decision to, through an abundance of caution, cancel the game of the Surrey Eagles and Langley that afternoon, and then Chilliwack and Coquitlam that evening. They're just exhibition games, and we just wanted to err on the side of caution. And as it turns out, none of the Surrey Eagles, other than that one player, have tested positive.
Speaking of the exhibition season, do we just continue playing exhibition games until we have a schedule? Do we have all the buildings lined up? Or are we in a wait-and-see attitude?
There's still a couple of buildings that are struggling with the provincial health office's mass gathering order and in the way they're interpreting it. Our position is that they are allowing us to have an event, and then around that event, depending on the arena, 50 patrons are allowed in. We're not at this point in exhibition season too concerned about selling tickets, but it is our expectation that by the time December 1st rolls around, we will continue on with what will amount to our regular season and just have it extended out of what we're calling our development season or extended training camp right now.
The Wenatchee Wild, are they going to base themselves on this side of the 49th, or the border issue there is a problem?
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't look like they're going to come across and operate out of another arena. They have already tried to put together some exhibition games down south with Western League teams, and also to have a camp where kids go to Idaho, which is fairly close to Wenatchee, which has arenas open and not operating under too severe a COVID protocol. And so they'll operate down there, and hopefully what happens is the border opens and we are able to bring them into our schedule once that happens.
I know the BC Hockey League, amongst other leagues, have asked respective governments for some type of financial help. Now that we've gone through this provincial election, is that still on the table with John Horgan and the NDP, or is that on hold?
Well, obviously they were able to run the clock out on us and get this election called, and so we had no provincial government support prior to the election. We're giving it a couple of days to kind of settle down over there, and we're going to pick the ball up because we honestly feel that the BC Hockey League is an institution, cultural and otherwise, that deserves the support, and our owners have lost already, well in above $3 million in revenue just based on having to cancel the playoffs last year, and also not being able to have fans in the seats this season. So we're hoping for some support, and we'll continue to ask. And so far they haven't said no, but they certainly haven't said yes either.
Chilliwack has always had, and when the Chiefs returned or came down from being the old Quinnell franchise, the Chiefs have always been in good financial shape, reasonably. Are there any teams that are teetering? And the ones that would be my concern are the ones in the northern part of the Vancouver Island, the Merritts, dare I say it, Trail. And then you have an expansion team in Cranbrook. Everyone good to go, or are we keeping a close eye on a couple of the brethren?
I think we're okay, and we've given the teams the option to take a hiatus if they need it, for economic reasons or otherwise, and nobody's taken us up on that. So we're expecting that our franchises will survive COVID. We are doing many things to support them. The players are paying for their extended training camp right now because there's no one allowed in the seats. We're obviously pursuing the provincial government support, and we're also looking to see what we can do in terms of finding some sponsors, corporate partners that would especially in a season like this where players have, are in danger of losing the season, that they would step up and help.
Chris Hebb, Commissioner of the BC Hockey League, you're always welcome here, and let's stay in touch on this one. It's going to be an interesting season.
All right, Don, thanks.
And you're watching chillTV's News of the Week. Parents of kids in minor sports are starting to vent and even becoming violent over COVID protocol. First, there was a petition circulating from parents in Chilliwack minor hockey that more than just one parent should be allowed to watch a game. They cite that the city regulation over everything from shopping malls to schools say one thing, and they are being discriminated against. A petition was started on change.org to sway opinion. Then Chilliwack FC had to issue a stern email about violence between parents and FC staff over protocol, to the point where a security company has been employed by Chilliwack FC to keep the peace and the parents, along with their kids, and they could be expelled from the program if they don't comply with the rules. As you heard earlier in the broadcast, Mayor Ken Popove has said if things don't improve with the attitude, those Chilliwack FC fields will be shut down. After the break, Bradley Jeanette and a special Halloween message. Tonight on chillTV's News of the Week, we have a very special guest coming to us from the United Kingdom to talk about Halloween safety. Mrs. Doubtfire, are you there?
No, Doubtfire, dear. Mrs. Doubtfire.
My apologies, Mrs. Doubtfire. Welcome to News of the Week. We understand you wanted to talk about Halloween. You know, it is coming up in just a couple of days. We wonder, though, what do you have to say about Halloween?
Well, dear, I'm a hippo granny who can hip-hop, bebop, and yo-yo make a wicked cup of cocoa. And you know, dear, Halloween is my favorite time of year, Puppet.
Puppet?
Yes, dear, Halloween is a glorious time of year for the children. But you see, dear, this year a terrible virus is going around and many people are frightened.
Well, how do you propose that the ghosts and the goblins, stay safe this year?
Well, dear, I spoke with my good friend Bonnie Henry. Perhaps you know her. Mm-hmm. She has very nice pink shoes, dear, yes. And she's a doctor. And she says we should all take extra precautions. Stay in small groups, dear. Leave your candies at the end of the parkways, and the kiddies can eat them up there, and you don't have to breathe on them. One more thing, dear. Please make sure you're wearing a mask.
Now, Mrs. Doubtfire, some costumes don't have a mask, so what should those kids do?
Well, dear, you see, there's so many stores in Chilliwack, and you take your kiddies up and down Luckakuk Way, go to the stores, and the ladies will put you in a nice mask and send you on your way.
Okay, great. Now, Mrs. Doubtfire, do you have any predictions for the top Halloween costumes this year?
Oh, yes, dear. I think in Chilliwack, most of the children are going to dress up like our esteemed mayor, my good friend, Mr. Ken Popove.
Wait a minute. You think the kids are going to dress up like Mayor Ken Popove?
Yes, dear. Have you seen the man? He's very small. Good costume when you're 9 years old, dear. But you know, with that big white hair and that soft face, he's not too scary. But when he drives that big expensive car, it's kind of like a terrorist. The kids will run all the way to Abbotsford.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you think anyone will be dressed up as, say, a doctor or a virus, maybe even Donald Trump?
Oh, dear. I don't know about that, but I'll tell you a little secret, but don't tell too many people. This year, dear, Doubtfire is dressing up like Councillor Sunat.
Oh, boy. Thank you, Mrs. Doubtfire, for visiting us on Chilliwack tonight, and stay safe. And to Councillor Sunat, please don't sue us.
Happy Halloween, dear.
chillTV weather. Temperatures are back on the rise after last weekend's chill, but with 14-degree temperatures comes the return of the rain. If you'd like to participate in reporting news in Chilliwack and you have a story you think we should know about, send us a note to news@chilltv.ca. We'd love to hear from you. That's the news this week. Happy Halloween. I'm Don Lehn.